You mentioned about this like affecting your masculinity, especially wounds with sexuality. And we don't glorify sin here. That's not our point in what we do on the podcast. But
Mm.
so without doing that, what would you say? How would you describe that wound came in that's come and impact your ministry that you do today?
Yeah, brother. Look, I think, to be honest, so I mean, so yeah, as you said in the intro, I've been very blessed to be doing to be speaking about chastity, about dating and marriage and purity for pretty much as soon as I left school, I started getting into these topics and speaking at youth groups and parishes, conferences and things like that. And to be honest, I think what actually really sparked it all for me was when I heard Christopher West speaking at World Youth Day in Sydney when I was about 15 years old. I can remember just sitting there as I was listening to him. I just started crying because I was like, man, like
Mm.
this is the answer. Like, this is the answer. I had so many questions around my sexuality and like,
Mm.
what am I supposed to do with these desires and these yearnings in my heart for love and intimacy, and I'm drawn to girls, but I don't, I don't know if I'm allowed to act on all this stuff. And so, I
Mhm.
struggled with masturbation. I struggled with porn for years, and it started around that time. And so I remember hearing the message of St. John Paul II and his TOB through Christopher West. And I can just remember thinking to myself, man, like, I was raised in a great Catholic home, went to a great Catholic school, and yet I haven't heard this stuff. Like,
Mm.
no one has showed me or explained to me what to do with these desires, like how to respond to them properly. I knew I wasn't like I wasn't meant to act on them, and I knew enough to know that if I did act on them, I had to go to confession. And so I can remember just hearing Christopher that night and thinking, wow, like, there's a lot more to this. And that, and he was talking. I mean, again, it was like 15 years ago, 18 years ago now, but he
Mhm.
was talking a lot about, just like the integration of our desires, of the body and the spirit, and that we're not meant to just be slaves to these desires and act on impulse and be compelled to indulge all these desires. But there's a way that we can, we can live out, we can respond to these desires in accordance with God's plan, and it brings freedom and harmony and joy. And so I remember saying, well, if I haven't heard this, and I went to a great school, great family, then there's got to be a lot of other Catholics that have never heard this.